Hello all! In today's video we're going to explore the history of the happy king who enjoyed nothing more than a good party, Old King Cole. So who was Old King Cole? Well, the internet has got lots of theories, but some of them are rather fanciful or seem to have no foundation in the history of the rhyme. So while I've added these to the notes in this video, I'm going to concentrate on two main theories which have cropped up in the historical record. Might Cole be an ancient British king and grandfather of Constantine the Great? Was he the founder of the city of Colchester? Or perhaps he was a generous 12th century merchant? Stay with me as we disentangle the theories and discover why Old King Cole is in the Guinness Book of Records. The modern version of the rhyme goes something like this. Old King Cole was a merry old soul, and a merry old soul was he. He called for his pipe, and he called for his bowl, and he called for his fiddlers three. Every fiddler had a fiddle, and a very fine fiddle had he. Oh, there's none so rare as can compare with King Cole and his fiddlers three. There then sometimes follows some extra verses talking about how much the king enjoys his pipe and his bowl. The first record of King Cole calling for fiddlers appeared in print in 1709 in a volume called Useful Transactions in Philosophy by Dr. William King. He was a little-known poet and civil servant under Queen Anne. This publication's got nothing to do with philosophy, it was a satirical magazine. 3 issues of Useful Transactions were published, and thereafter more would be published as they sell. They didn't sell, so that was the end of that. The reference to someone called Cole is in a quintessentially rambling style of the 18th century satirist. King suggests to his readers that a fun trick at a party would be to pretend that you have an old manuscript in ancient Brittonic in your library. I mean, who doesn't? You pretend it dates from the time of King Lud, the mythical founder of the city of London. King then handily provides a copy of a supposedly ancient rhyme, and then, even more helpfully, transcribes it for the benefit of the reader. The rhyme is Good King Cole. His rendition has quite a few differences to the one we know today, but it's close enough to say confidently it's the same rhyme, and it goes like this. Good King Cole, and he called for his bowl, and he called for his fiddlers three. And there was fiddle, fiddle, and twice fiddle, fiddle, and 'twas my lady's birthday, therefore we keep holy day, and come be merry. I'm not sure what all that means, but it sounds like fun. The transformation to the current rhyme seems to have happened through the 18th and 19th century, and the one we know today was published by James Orchard Halliwell when he wrote his English nursery rhyme collection in the 1840s. William King seems to assume the reader's already familiar with Good Cole and the possible origins of the rhyme, so on that basis it must predate the early 18th century. We do know that the character of someone called Cole, if not necessarily a monarch, made regular appearances in 17th and 18th century plays and books. So who was Good or Old King Cole? Well, we've 3 possibilities. Let's take them in chronological order. The first theory, and one favoured by William King, takes us all the way back to the 3rd century and a legendary prince of Celto-Romano Britain called Cole. During this period, and for the next 500 years, the Celtic lands extended in various forms from Cornwall in the south, through modern Wales, or what is called in Welsh Cymru, and up to Cumbria and Strathclyde in lowland Scotland. Indeed, the word Cumbria derives from the same root as Cymru, meaning fellow countryman. Old King Cole apparently was the ruler of this northern portion. This kingdom would later become known as Hen Ogledd, meaning Old North in Welsh. Old King Cole was known as Cole Hen. Hen, as we now know, means old, and Cole being variously translated as faithful or protector. According to the ancient annals, he became the patriarch of a long line of princes of Celtic Britain. He apparently died in very old age, he's not called old for nothing, when his armies were defeated by a Pictish force in the semi-legendary Battle of Cole's Field in Ayrshire. We now take a leap of faith and some considerable distance, and the claim that Cole Hen was also the founder of the city of Colchester, which is in Essex, 400 miles to the south of Cole's kingdom in the Scottish borders. The claim is made by Geoffrey of Monmouth, writing in the 12th century. Geoffrey's famous for his History of the Kings of Britain, which is a key text in the development of the Arthurian legend. Geoffrey would also have us believe that Old Cole was the father of Saint Helena, and therefore the grandfather of Constantine the Great, the first Christian Roman emperor. There's a bit of an issue here because the records show Helena was born in Asia Minor, which is modern Turkey, rather than, say, Essex. But let's run with the theory that the name Colchester comes from the fort of Cole, or Old King Cole. Indeed, at the time of William King, it was widely believed that what are in fact Roman remains were built by King Cole. The well at the top of the high street was known as King Cole's Pump. The Roman town walls were known as King Cole's Castle, and the remains of what is in fact the Temple of Claudius was called King Cole's Palace. Sadly, this is all wishful thinking. The name of Colchester doesn't come from Old King Cole. In all likelihood, it comes from the name of the river Cole, which runs through the city. So what are the other theories? Well, if we return to William King, he mentions a 12th century cloth merchant from Reading named Colebrook. Now, lots of websites say that this theory originated with William Chappell in the 19th century, but William King definitely mentions it. It's almost as if people writing websites about the history of nursery rhymes don't do their research. According to Dr. Oliver Turle, by the 17th century, good coal became a byword for a generous employer. Colebrook had apparently amassed a vast fortune, with a mansion and over 140 servants. Although there's no trace of an actual person called Colebrook in the historical record, his story became famous after it appeared as a best-selling book in 1598 entitled The Pleasant History of Thomas of Reading. It may be that Colebrook became good coal. While this theory was largely dismissed by William King and others since, I don't think it's that fanciful. After all, people were writing about Dick Whittington at the same time, and he was a real person whose life has been morphed to include cats and journeys to distant lands. It doesn't seem so far-fetched that Colebrook could have been praised as a benevolent employer. So what about pipes and bowls? Well, while many of the illustrations depict him as a merry monarch puffing away, it seems more likely the pipe in question was a musical instrument, and on that basis perhaps the bowl was a kind of drum. So when we add the fiddlers, perhaps old King Cole was more of a musical band leader than the ruler of a nation. The rhyme has since become a staple of Mother Goose books, and the topic of a ballet by Vaughan Williams. But I've kept you waiting long enough. How is Old King Cole in the Guinness Book of Records? Well, for 20 years, a version of Old King Cole held the title of the smallest printed book in the world. Published in Scotland in 1985, it measures only 1 millimetre square. It remains the smallest book held in the Library of Congress, but has now been surpassed as the world's smallest book by one which is even smaller, approximately 0.07 millimetre square. The publishers of Old King Cole also hold the record for the smallest letterpress book in the world, which is the traditional way books have been published since the 15th century. And they seem to like nursery rhymes almost as much as me. This book is a reprint of Three Blind Mice. Indeed, there are quite a few examples of very small books of nursery rhymes, so I might do a video about that if you'd like. So that's the story of Old King Cole. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll be back soon with more videos about the wonderful history of nursery rhymes. Bye for now.